welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be unstringing and restringing one of my BJDs. So I have here a new normal skin Moe line mini fee body, and her neck connector, you can see she came to me from a third party and they had an issue when they restrung her and broke her neck connector. So she's got an S ring in there and it's not the right size, and they also put some putty in there to try and hold everything together. So we're gonna fix that. I mean, otherwise she's actually really well strung, but we're gonna fix that. And then she's got Moe line feet, and I want her to have heeled A-line feet, so we're gonna switch out her ankle joint and fix her feet as well. So come on with me and let's get started.
Okay, so before you take your doll apart, you want to find a nice flat surface where you'll have plenty of room to work. We'll start by removing her hands and her feet so we don't lose them during this process. I normally start at the feet, but on this one I'm going to start at the neck because it's pretty loose, so this one will be easier to take off. You'll usually want to start at the feet though, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Here's what the neck connector looked like once I removed it. I also took the ball out because I don't feel like you really need this part, and it was kind of messed up too. Now the doll's in two pieces. We're going to start with the top half of the doll. We're going to start by removing her wrist joints. Sorry, I got kind of off camera here. There you go. Now you can see how the wrist joint is attached, and you just want to pull this apart. Be very careful because it's hard to get new wrist joints. In general, be careful with this whole process because it's hard to get new parts. Once the wrist is off, you can de-string the rest of the arm, but make sure you put them kind of in order because you want to remember which part goes where, especially if you don't do this very often, because it's really easy to get them mixed up. Now for the other arm. This one should be a lot easier since there's less tension on the string. Again, lay the pieces out in order so we can put them back together easily later. And then you can pull the string out and put this away for later because we'll need it again. Now let's start on the second half of her body. We're going to start from the ankles and remove the joint. Since I'm not going to be using these strings, I decided to cut them off at the ankle joint instead of remove the ankle joint itself, just because it made things a lot easier. As you can see, everything kind of flew everywhere, and I had to reorganize things. Now I'm going to switch out the Moe ankle joints for the A-line ankle joints. As you can see, most of the parts are labeled L or R for left or right. So if you do get things mixed up, that's actually really helpful. Again, we want to make sure that we lay everything out in the order we take it off. That way we'll be able to put it back together easily and we won't miss anything. Now simply remove the other parts of the leg. Here I'm snipping the other leg, and just like the first one, things went everywhere, so be careful. Here's something really important. Make sure you take note of how the joints actually seat together so that you can put them back together appropriately later on. And that's it. She's completely unstrung. Now let's put her back together. You will need a string for the arms, the new neck connector with strings for the legs, this is what the actual neck connector looks like on the inside, by the way. You'll need 2 of these or something similar. They're not necessary, but they make life easier. And 2 pipe cleaners. These are absolutely necessary. We're going to use the pipe cleaner for pulling the thread. So first take it and loop it around the thread. Then we're going to use it to pull the thread through the armholes. This was actually the wrong way to do it because I ended up with the knot on the outside, and I quickly realized this error. To correct this, you want to thread it through from the inside of the torso so the knot remains in the middle. As you can see, this is a tedious process. If you don't do it right on your first try, that's okay. Keep trying at it and eventually you'll get it. Now we've threaded one arm. This is where the carabiners come in handy. They make sure that the thread doesn't pull back through the hole. Now do the exact same thing for the other arm. Now the torso is fully strung. I've decided to start on the left side. I don't know why I always start on this arm, I just do. To put on the arm pieces, you want to thread the pipe cleaner through the loop and twist it together at the ends so they stay together as one. Then thread the arm pieces on in the correct order. Sometimes it takes a little bit of pulling to get the thread through the small pieces, but be gentle, don't break anything. Here's where the carabiner comes in handy. Now we can pull really hard on the other end of that thread without worrying about it going back up inside the doll. Now for the wrist joint. You want to pull out the thread like this and hook the wrist joint in. Then when it's seated, you can remove the pipe cleaner. And there you have it. One arm is finished. Now proceed with the other arm in exactly the same way. This arm will be a little bit more difficult because there's already tension on the string, so you may have to do some pulling, some pretty hard pulling, but be careful again. You don't want to break anything. So for this wrist joint, I couldn't get it through myself. So I actually went and asked my husband for help, and it took 2 people to do it. So I'm back, and the upper part of the torso and arms has been restrung. Now let's start with the bottom half of her body. Take the pipe cleaner and thread it through both of the loops so we can put it through the neck hole. You want to make sure that the knot gets into the neck hole and isn't sticking out at the top. That's what I'm kind of doing off camera there. When it's pulled tight, it should look like this. Now is the point where you need to use both of the pipe cleaners. Let's put one pipe cleaner on each loop. Twist them at the bottom so they become one tip. Now place each one through its own side of the torso so that it comes out the leg hole. Now you're ready to string the legs. You string the legs exactly the same way as you string the arms. You just want to make sure that you put the pieces on in the right order. When you get to the ankle joint, make sure it's aligned properly and make sure that you have both pieces in the correct way. You're going to have to do some heavy duty pulling in order to get the ankle piece to slide in. So in a second here you'll see I put it between my legs in order to get a better grip. This is what the ankle piece looks like, and you want to try and slide the hook in between the strings. This is the part that breaks the easiest, so be careful. Here, like I said, I'm putting it between my knees so I can get the best traction, because it does take a bit of pulling. You can see that I'm putting the ankle joint in. Once it's in and seated, you can slide out the pipe cleaner. And here's what it should look like. Now it's time to do the other leg exactly as before. And here she is, all done.
All right, guys, we're back. And Ava is now dressed and ready. So that was a very difficult process, but it's sometimes necessary. And so I'm glad you guys were able to see that. And I'm glad we got her feet on. So now she can wear heels instead of the Moe feet. and we've got her neck fixed, so now her head fits. So we're good to go. Thank you so much for coming by, and I hope you enjoyed it, struggling with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
It's delicious.